So ladies and gentlemen, we are quickly moving on to the valedictory. And we are very proud and honored to share with you all that this evening we are very proud to welcome in our midst today Dr. A.K. Sood, Deputy Managing Director, National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, that is NABARD. A very, very warm welcome to the honored dignitary. We are also privileged to welcome on stage for a summary of summit proceedings, Ms. Smita Premchandar, Secretary Sampark. And may I also welcome on stage Mr. Sudipto Saha, Head Financial Inclusion Access Development Services. May I request you all to please join us on stage. Please join me in welcoming them with a huge round of applause. A very warm and hearty welcome to Dr. A.K. Sood, Deputy Managing Director, National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development. Once again, a very warm welcome to all of you onto the stage. May I first request Mr. Sudipto Saha to kindly present a bouquet of flowers and welcome the honored dignitaries. We extend a very warm and hearty welcome to Dr. A.K. Sood. It's our pleasure, sir, to welcome you here in our midst. We extend a very warm and hearty welcome to Ms. Smita Premchandar. It's a pleasure to welcome you here, ma'am. So ladies and gentlemen, as I've already shared that she is going to share with us a summary of the summit proceedings, may I now request Ms. Smita Premchandar to kindly share with us the proceedings.
Hi and good evening. I want to start with Hindi like I did last year. While I wait for also the slides to go up. The last session, I think, also speaks to how we come to conferences. I think many of us come to conferences to speak and to hear ourselves and to talk about what we do. And the number of people who stay back towards the end are the ones who have actually listened and who are really interested in listening to the end. So this to me is very special that at least 40, 50 people stay back. And today, of course, there are more than 40, 50. So thank you for staying. I'll start with Hindi because I had said last year that we actually now 21 years down the line, we have seen a lot of these conferences. We have learned from every conference, and those of us who come regularly, we have a sense of history and growth of the sector and the narratives that we've created and heard. And so the poem goes like this. देखते हैं हम अंधेरे से रोशनी को, चलो बैठें किसी दीपक की लौ के तले और देखें अंधेरे से रोशनी को, क्योंकि देखते हैं हम नेपथ्य से मंच को. Right? So if we are ourselves sitting back a little bit in the shadows and looking at what's happening on the stage, the learning is maximized. And I think for me, it's really important to say Access has given me this opportunity to sit, reflect, listen, and share with all of you those reflections at the end. So thank you to Access. But of course, I've not done it alone. And every time again, thanks to Akash and Sudipto, Vipin, and the Access team, we've had 10 or 12 people doing this note-taking and learning. So, where are the slides? Where's Tanya? Can I have the slides on? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, so we had Ananya, we had Binita, we had Kora, who's not here today, we had Kavita, Shomita, Anupam, HC, Muttu, Prashant, and Vishal. Can you all stand up, please, wherever you are? In the hall, can we give them a round of applause? Thank you for all of us working together for, capitalizing our learnings and showcasing them today. So, what have we done in this conference, in this summit every year? We create learning spaces and we create documentation spaces as well. We share documentation. Access brings together the key stakeholders in the sector. Every single time, the most important players are there, and every single time, the people creating impact on the ground or scale or in policy influence are honored. We've seen that. We bring together a global perspective. So there were experiences this year shared from India, Africa, to an extent, Latin America and Bangladesh, and some from the States. We got multiple perspectives on different topics, so I'm not listing all of them, just some of them. We heard the story of financial inclusion from different perspectives, people starting from 1951 and up to people starting from 2014, different slices of history, the story of growth, the risks that we face now and before, data availability, access to finance, sharing of data, use of data, protection and safety issues, the digital infrastructure. There was a whole lot of sessions around that. There were two sessions around climate resilient agriculture, one especially for women. There were discussions on non-farm sector, on wash and water, and several others. There were also MSMEs. There were also actor perspectives. So we had a whole range: government, private sector, banks, NBFCs, SFBs, credit bureaus, a whole range of institutions. We also had perspectives from cooperatives and from international agencies. And the last session, again, which was also from institutional investor perspectives. What about the gender lens? We have continued over the last 21 years to become more and more predominantly male narratives being presented and institutional perspectives being presented, sometimes women's perspectives, but by and large, these are relegated to the second day, to the afternoon, to the parallel sessions, and we've moved away from discussions on women's issues and women's perspectives in the plenaries. So this is something I'd like you to flag and think over, because this is not just a reflection of the conference, this is a reflection of the way we are in the industry and how we are thinking and where we are taking the sector. What about the issues of agreement? There was a whole lot of issues of agreement. I've just written a few. Phygital model works better than only digital models. Was very clear. A lot of focus on digital, but you need phygital to counter the risks that the industry is facing today and to meet people's needs. Then understand better the challenges and difficulties that women face and provide customized solutions. Collaborations and partnerships came up in every single discussion. And this is really an underscoring of where we are in the industry today: further growth, further risk mitigation, further safety of future scale up cannot happen without very strong collaborations. Impact, there were sessions on impact where the need for, and a lot of quantitative studies were also presented, but what was also underlined was the need for qualitative research, which is context specific and subjective longitudinal data, which is not only with the proving impact mindset, but also the improving impact mindset, which means understanding people's needs, especially women's needs, and offering financial products and non-financial services to meet those needs. This was flagged also. I think one of the things that we should flag is that it came out very strongly that we must reassess now the theory of change of microfinance. So, the theory of change that the dominant narratives give us are not exactly working out on the ground. And we don't tend to say it in the first session of the first day, but by the second session of the last session of the second day, these things are being discussed, and it comes out that we do need to review, reassess how microfinance is used, how enterprise credit is used. Many of the institutions also said how important loan utilization checks are and how important the traditional group lending methodology continues to be, because it allows to analyze risks, allows to question the current narratives. So we must stay alert to that as an industry, I think, and not become complacent. Also, the SHGs, JLGs, individual lending, micro and small enterprise finance, these continue to be different models. And sometimes when we are talking, we do not necessarily differentiate enough. So, and when we do not differentiate enough, then we forget that they need not always be collaborative. They can also be competing models, and they can have completely differential impacts. Also, women's empowerment, I think there was a very clear message that it is still a relevant question or not. Let's debate that. And there were impact studies to show and question whether long term makes a difference. Some studies say long term access to dynamic loans makes a difference, dynamic incentives make a difference. And some studies say no, they don't, they do not influence household bargaining power, because the patriarchy that we live in different contexts is much stronger. Is the loan used for income generation? What are the terms on which money is given? What are the sources from which the money comes? All this is important. And they came up in some sessions, not in all. How about women's access to microfinance? There were in some sessions a statement, more than one statement in 2 or 3 sessions, talking about reinforcing the fact that there should be a business case made for women. And I'm really thrown 30 years behind. 30 years ago, we were saying, are women bankable? Are more poor women bankable? Are poor people bankable? And if today we start with the same questions, then it's really for us to think about, is it still to be proven, this business case? Women have proved, no, they provide all the information, they are easy to discipline, they sit in SHGs, they come to JLG groups even if JLG as a model is falling out, they still repay well, they spend on family, right? But then, the moment you're moving out from the SHG and your business is growing, there's a huge gap. Individual lending drops as soon as you move out of the SHG concept, and then you move further towards small, towards nano, small, and medium, and the percentage of women, loans to women enterprises drops hugely, right? I think there were issues. People kept mentioning women have low access to information. They also said women's capacities should be built, right? But only one, and it was interesting that she was from Ghana, the person who mentioned it. She mentioned the concept time poverty. Yeah, women do have time poverty. They just don't have this. We're still talking about gender based triple roles. They still have lack of asset ownership, and especially land and physical assets as collateral. And these are things for which microfinance institutions per se don't have solutions. You have to work outside the microfinance institutions. Okay, so then there were partnerships I've already spoken, and designing products. Need to listen to the current research that either the Pondicherry Institute is bringing up, or Sharda Gopal and people like that who are activists in the field are bringing up. We need to listen to that. Um, there's a big discussion in almost every session on data, technology, AI, and the key points were that there's data fragmentation across the sector. We need to use data for financial inclusion, for improved credit assessment, for improving borrower capacities, etc. But we need for that to develop the ecosystem a little more. Lots has been done, but lots more needs to be done. And AI is as good, as ethical, as gender responsive as we design it to be. This does not happen automatically. There was one comment which was very strong on having forbearance and tolerance in the use of data. So what they were saying is don't harm people when you use the data. Don't immediately make their accounts inactive and don't immediately classify them as defaulters, but have some patience and wait for a while before you act, even if your data tells you that people are not paying, because understanding the why is very important. Okay. Digitalization of land records is a priority area, and and build data sets only if you have benefits. This is the last slide, which was around climate resilience. Again, a lot of work is needed in terms of research, in terms of building a robust taxonomy and developing innovative green finance solutions, as well as working with the community. So I will stop here. This is not a summary of every session, but we have tried that between the 10 or 12 of us to bring you the key points, and I hope it helps you to think through some of the major learnings that you had during these sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing these learnings with us. It now gives me great pleasure to request Dr. A.K. Sood, Deputy Managing Director, National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, to kindly articulate his thoughts. Please welcome with a round of applause.
So, good evening to all of you. So, I think as we are coming close to this event, so a lot of things have already been spoken about various sessions and the learnings that we have taken. See, as the financial inclusion space grows and the ecosystem changes, but still there are many things that need to be done. One of the biggest problem in FI is that we are taking a very micro view of things. Say, for example, there are issues in terms of targeting certain geographies. So if I say northeastern region or central region, they are not as much financially included as other regions of country. So there are issues in sectoral targeting of the regions of the country. There are issues in institutional capacities to run FI programs. So we need to do a lot of initiatives in these. So sectoral, for example, bioman is one area, targeting of bioman, maybe agriculture or non-agriculture. And if I talk of agriculture, there is a big chunk of people who are still uncovered by formal institutional setup, that is the tenant farmers, which take up around 25% of the cultivated area of the country. So these are some of the segments which still remain out of formal financial system, though they are accessing from informal sources, which is predatory in nature, which is usurious, and the sectors that we are dealing, they are not that profitable to make that much of dent. So I think in terms of the institutional capacities, NABARD has also undertaken certain initiatives. Only recent ones I will tell two or three. One is the account aggregator as a service to the rural financial institutions that we are doing actually. It is a work in progress. So basically the purpose of this is setting up of a common infrastructure for use by the RFIs. And it will act as a gateway for the cooperative banks, particularly to onboard the account aggregator framework, extending digital financial services to more entities. That is one initiative as an ecosystem provider that we are taking. One initiative that we have taken in the digital space is eKCC portal along with the RBI Innovation Hub. Its pilot is ongoing in two states of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. So it's basically the digitization of the loan origination process for Kisan credit card is happening. We are running with SBI and one cooperative bank, and then it will be extended to regional rural banks and cooperative banks going forward. So basically, the purpose of this is that it integrates various data points and provides enabling environment for all digital, journey for the for extending the loans. Then there is one more initiative which is shared services entity for the cooperative banks, and RRB is in fact in the later stage. So these cooperative banks, they are something which do not have that much of financial strength to take up technology absorption and many such initiatives. So without which they are losing customers, because now the customer experience is something which is very, very important. So we have got regulatory approval in this, and we are going ahead with this. So once this initiative is implemented for cooperatives and maybe for RRBs later on, then this will provide a level playing field for these institutions, and it will be a very good initiative for the FI space. Then for regional rural banks, we are doing automation for Jan Suraksha schemes. For commercial banks, this has already been done. For RRBs, this was yet to be done. So we are uh, doing this, and I think these are some of the most recent initiatives that we have been, apart from the traditional things that we are doing. So as we conclude, I think several key themes which emerge and which call for action is one is the collaborative partnership. So building strong alliances among governments, private entities, and civil societies to accelerate impact. It's a given fact that no single entity can, do work in. It's a huge work to be done. So we may have to collaborate. We may have to come together. That is the need of the hour. Then policy advocacy is another area. Innovations at scale. So scale is also important. We have felt it, and use of technology to bring scale. We are talking of FPOs, we are talking of SHGs. So I think that is the way forward to go. But how to infuse technology in that, that is something we need to do. Then is sustainable growth, embedding resilience in the financial products and ensuring that they are accessible to the marginalized groups. So these are some of the key takeaways that I think we all should take. But our job does not stop here. I mean, just discussion and all this, it doesn't stop here. It rather begins, I would say. So the voices that we have heard and the solutions that we have discussed, they must be taken to the boardrooms, have broader discussions in the policy corridors. Together, we have a shared responsibility to ensure that the financial inclusion that we are talking about is not just a goal, but an everyday reality for millions. So I think with this, I end my speech, and I hope that the discussions which we have gone through during the last 2 days, we take some initiative on this. And I was discussing with the Sharma ji that together, Access Development and NABARD, we will definitely like to work together and maybe take forward some of the discussion points going ahead. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. It's been a privilege and an honor to have you here with us. We express our sincere thanks to the esteemed guests seated with us on the dais. May I request Mr. Sudipto Saha to kindly present a small memento to both of our esteemed dignitaries. We thank Ms. Smita Premchandar. Thank you, ma'am. And our heartfelt thanks and gratitude to our honored guest, Dr. A.K. Sood. Thank you, sir. And now may I invite Mr. Sudipto Saha to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everyone. So, with that, we come to the end of the 21st Global Inclusive Finance Summit 2024. So, while Smita has summarized very crisply the discussions as well as whatever happened in the last 2 days regarding the Indian financial inclusion sector and the happenings during the in the sector, so I think she has summarized it very well. We will be coming out with a report of all the details and summarizing the entire session-wise plans. So at Axis, we are particularly overwhelmed with the response and participation from all quarters this year. Sponsors for supporting the summit, technical partnerships, companies wanting to put up stalls in the knowledge fair, as well as delegates from diverse set of organizations specifically for the participation. At the end of the 2 days, it is most appropriate to thank a host of stakeholders without which we couldn't have done this summit. So, firstly, we are thankful to the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, Government of India, who has been the co-host for the second year in a row. Also, deeply appreciate our partnerships with various partners across the 2 days of the summit. Our principal partner, BMGF, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Special thanks to Pawan, Prabir and Pradeep, who has been very supportive, very cooperative in developing the session plan, the themes, topics, as well as the speakers under each of the themes which we had suggested. MasterCard, IDFC First Bank. The core sponsors, SIDBI, NABARD, Credit Access Grameen, State Bank of India, along with HSBC. Co-sponsors, Annapurna, AU Small Finance Bank, Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, Equifax, Water.org, Black Soil, and Northern Arc. So, I would like to place on record special appreciation to HSBC for supporting us for 16 years for the Inclusive Finance India Awards. Thanks to Knowledge Partners, Rabo Foundation, Better Than Cash Alliance, and IIM Ahmedabad. The Gender Track Partner, WWB, along with 9 technical partners who helped us work on various themes. 15 associate sponsors, quite of which were new, who had come on board this year, but most of them have been supporting for the last 5 years or so. We are grateful for the speakers, not only from India, but international speakers who spoke across 23 sessions over the last 2 days of the summit, sharing their views and perspectives on various themes and sub-themes. Special thanks to the moderators of all the panels for working hard with them and bringing the best out of the speakers. I would also like to mention the work done by our comms partner, Small Town Brandits, Aage Se Right, PR agency and online streaming partner Dreamcast for supporting and backstopping the summit secretariat. I'd like to thank the authors of the Inclusive Finance India report, Mr. N. Srinivasan, Girija Srinivasan, Gaurav Gupta, Indradeep Ghosh, Mita Premchandar, Dr. Jay Seelan, and most important of all, Ramesh Arunachalam, the editor of the report. We hope that the summit has been a useful platform for learning, sharing, as well as network. And we thank you for attending this summit annually. Your participation and engagement encourages us to continue to put required energies in organizing the event year after year. Thanks to Mandeep, our wonderful MC, for a charming facilitation. Thanks to Numec Events, our event managers for their hard work in helping organize such an event, big event, and also to Hotel Ashok team and management for providing the required support. Not to forget my team as well as our team in Access, comms team led by Tanya, Ravi, Sonali and Shubham, accounts and admin team led by Subir, Shilpa, Nitin, Ajay, Ramesh, Kapil and Sanjeev, entire Access team coming in for the last 2 days, not only supporting the summit for being the MC, point of contact as well as rapporteuring, and to our CEO, Mr. Vipin Sharma, who provided the technical guidance and support and also encouragement and faith in me and my team. Last but not the least, my team, my two hands, Akash Srivastav and Satyan Kumar. Please come on stage. Thank you very much for all the support provided. As and when required, 24 hours, whenever I used to call them, they were available. And so thank you all. Thank you once again, and looking forward to meeting you all next year. Thank you very much.